I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
Hi, I'm Luke Ryan for JoBlo.com, and this is From Page to Screen. For this installment, we'll be looking back at the origins of the characters that appear in the 2014 surprise smash hit Guardians of the Galaxy. The team of Guardians that we've seen in the two movies to date were not the original team, who first appeared back in January 1969 in Marvel Superheroes number 18. The members included characters such as Major Vance Astro and a more familiar face, Yondu Udonta. The original Guardians appeared in comics throughout the 1970s and 80s, getting their own run in June of 1990 with issue number 1 of Guardians of the Galaxy. In 2008, a new team of Guardians were introduced to the Marvel world in Annihilation Conquest issue 6 in April 2008. The team consisted of previously existing and unrelated characters from Marvel's endless back catalogue of superheroes. The Annihilation Conquest story saw a whole host of Marvel's cosmic heroes joining forces to save the universe from Phalanx, and at the conclusion, the character of StarLord decides to form a team to prevent further intergalactic catastrophes. Following the events of Annihilation Conquest, StarLord recruits Adam Warlock, Drax the Destroyer, Gamora, Quasar, Rocket Raccoon and Groot to join his team, and after they encounter Vance Astro, one of the original Guardians, they are inspired to adopt the name Guardians of the Galaxy. The group sets up base on the space station Nowhere with Mantis as support staff and Cosmo the Space Dog, an intelligent and telepathic canine, as their chief of security. In 2010, in the early stages of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige hinted at Guardians of the Galaxy being a potential film that could be made, and at the 2012 San Diego Comic-Con, it was announced that the film was in development. James Gunn was announced as the director of the film, and throughout 2013 the main cast were locked into place, with the characters of Adam Warlock and Quasar being removed from the core 2008 comic book team, streamlined for the movie with StarLord, Drax the Destroyer, Gamora, Rocket Raccoon and Groot forming the on-screen group.
We're the Guardians of the Galaxy.
The movie was released on the 1st of August 2014 and was praised as a refreshing entry into the comic book movie genre, breathing new life into a series of films that some have argued was becoming oversaturated. The humour, soundtrack, adventure and memorable characters were all celebrated as high points, and the film grossed over $773 million worldwide. So let's take a closer look at how well the film adapted the core Guardians characters from the comic books to the big screen, starting with the lead hero, StarLord. Real name Peter Quill, StarLord first appeared in Marvel Preview issue number 4 in January 1976. Created by Steve Englehart, the character was originally intended to go from an introverted, unpleasant jerk before leaving Earth to go on an intergalactic adventure and become something more. However, Englehart left Marvel, so the character was revamped by Chris Claremont. The son of an alien father and human mother, Peter is left orphaned after his father leaves Earth and his mother is killed by two alien Badoon soldiers who have come to kill Peter and end his father's bloodline. Peter joins NASA after leaving an orphanage and ends up stranded in space, where he's picked up by a group of space pirates called Ravagers, led by Yondu Udonta. Yondu takes a liking to Peter, recognizing they both come from broken homes, and he stays with the Ravagers before going on to take on the moniker of StarLord and forming the Guardians of the Galaxy team. His spacesuit gives him augmented strength and durability, also giving him the ability to travel through space. He also wields an elemental gun, a meta pistol that can fire off projectiles of the elements air, earth, fire and water. His choice of space travel is his aptly named vessel, Ship, which is actually a sentient energy form that Quill shares a psychic link with. In the film, StarLord is portrayed by Chris Pratt and has a very similar backstory, his mother instead dying from cancer when he's very young, and he's mysteriously abducted by the Ravagers immediately, the reasoning of which isn't explained until the second movie. In the opening scene of the film, Quill steals an orb, and after attempting to sell it on the planet of Xandar, ends up imprisoned. The look of StarLord and the design of his spacesuit evolved over the years, and the current look given to the movie iteration of the character has heavily influenced his comic book counterpart.
Hey, you know what? There's another name you might know me by.
StarLord.
Who? Well, StarLord, man. Legendary outlaw. Guys, move!
Drax the Destroyer first appeared in Iron Man number 55 in February 1973, created by Jim Starlin. He had a recurring role in Captain Marvel from 1973 and made appearances in many comics over the following decades until landing up in the Guardians of the Galaxy. He was originally a human named Arthur Douglas, whose family was killed by the supervillain Thanos, and had his spirit placed into a powerful new body that gave him enhanced strength, resilience, and the ability to project energy blasts from his hands. Drax was also highly skilled in knife combat. In the movie, Drax is played by Dave Bautista, and the character is an alien whose family was murdered by Ronan the Accuser, the central villain of the film, on the orders of Thanos, who Drax vows revenge on. We first meet the character of Drax in the prison that StarLord was detained in. Along with the super strength and proficiency with knives, Drax's movie realization is characterized by an inability to understand metaphors, as his species is completely literal.
Do not ever call me at the source.
It's just a metaphor, dude.
His people are completely literal. Metaphors are gonna go over his head.
Nothing goes over my head. My reflexes are too fast. I would catch it.
I'm gonna die surrounded by the biggest idiots in the galaxy.
Gamora, who was also created by Jim Starlin, first appeared in Strange Tales number 180 in June 1975. The last of her alien race, Gamora was found by Thanos, who adopted her as his daughter to be used as a weapon. A master martial artist with incredible strength, agility, speed, and healing, Gamora became a highly skilled assassin, eventually siding against her adopted father Thanos with other Marvel characters including Drax and the Avengers. Gamora is played by Zoe Saldana in the film, with a very similar storyline and backstory, being Thanos' adopted daughter and a skilled assassin. She's sent by Ronan the Accuser to retrieve the orb that StarLord stole and ends up in the same prison as the other characters, later revealing she plans to turn against Ronan and her father Thanos.
What? Holy shit.
Groot is an alien sentient tree-like creature who first appeared in Tales to Astonish number 13 in November 1960, created by Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Larry Lieber, and Dick Ayers. Originally he was a monster who came to Earth to study and capture humans before being destroyed, and appeared sporadically in different forms after that. A different Groot appeared in the Annihilation Conquest series, where he formed a bond with Rocket Raccoon, who was able to understand his language. Groot has the ability to absorb wood as food, control trees and plants, and regenerate, having been seemingly killed multiple times, only to regrow from a sprig. His trademark phrase, "I am Groot," isn't a sign of a limited vocabulary or mental capacity, as he's actually speaking in Flora Colossi speech, which most are unable to decipher due to the hardened nature of Groot's larynx. The more that people hear Groot say "I am Groot" in different ways, they can roughly learn what the subtly changing inflections mean and understand what he's talking about. We first see Groot in the film hanging out with Rocket Raccoon, and he exhibits all of the characteristics of his comic book counterpart and is voiced by Vin Diesel.
We know who you are. Who is she?
I'm Groot.
Yeah, you said that.
Rocket Raccoon first made an appearance in Marvel Preview number 7 in the summer of 1976. Created by writer Bill Mantlo and artist Keith Giffen, Rocket is an anthropomorphic raccoon who is an expert marksman and a master tactician who was partly inspired by the Beatles song Rocky Raccoon. He first appeared as Rocky, which was later learnt to be short for Rocket. He acted as the guardian of the Keystone Quadrant in his starship Rack and Ruin, with his first mate Walrus, a talking walrus. They both came from the planet Half-World, an abandoned colony for the mentally ill, where the animal companions were genetically manipulated to grant them human-level intelligence and bipedal body construction for many to become caretakers of the inmates. Rocket would go on to join the Guardians of the Galaxy in the Annihilation Conquest run. In the film we meet Rocket teamed up with Groot, and they both end up in the Kiln prison, along with the other future members of the Guardians of the Galaxy. His backstory of being genetically modified is touched on in the film, and his skill with guns and technical prowess are also highlighted. Just like his partner Groot, he's created digitally for the film and is voiced by Bradley Cooper.
Oh, yeah.
With all of the characters locked up in jail in a bid to escape the Kiln prison, StarLord, Gamora, Drax, Groot and Rocket all team up to break out and are hunted down for being in possession of the orb, which leads to a big showdown with the villain Ronan the Accuser. Ronan the Accuser was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, appearing first in Fantastic Four number 65 in August 1967. Alternating between supervillain and honorable hero across the years, Ronan is typically portrayed as a Kree radical, a brilliant military strategist with superhuman strength and reflexes and invulnerable to most toxins. In the film, played by Lee Pace, Ronan is sent by Thanos to retrieve the orb, which is revealed to be an Infinity Stone, but Ronan tries to take it for himself to destroy Xandar, and is ultimately defeated by the heroes after getting distracted by StarLord's dancing? Wow, some military strategist. There are plenty of other comic book characters and references in the film, from the Guardians' headquarters in the comics Nowhere being included as a criminal outpost, to the characters of Nebula, Yondu and the Collector, who we can look into more in a future episode of From Page to Screen. Two of the fun cameos include Cosmo the Space Dog, along with the satirical Marvel character Howard the Duck, who appears in this post-credit scene. Guardians of the Galaxy became an instant comic book movie classic, with a newly released sequel, a third installment in the works, and the promise of seeing the characters in the next Avengers movie. The big screen adaptation of the galaxy-defending superheroes gave the characters on the page an even bigger following, leading to a resurgence that will no doubt keep them around for a long time to come.